Ahoy there, mateys! Welcome aboard the Riff, Raff podcast. We are the pirates of the spicy waters. Come along with us and hoist the sail. We're navigating life through story and tale. We'll help you embrace the way you're wired, sharing laughs and lessons to get you inspired. If you join us, we will help you see there are a lot of ways to sail the neurospicy sea. One cup. Yes, 1 cup.
It's a 3-cup kind of day, folks. It's a day. We've all got our support stuffed animals and our coffee. It's good. Welcome to Across the Desk and the Riff Raff podcast. And joining us today from the Arctic North is Disco Santa.
Yeah. We've now definitely got a reason for we've definitely got a reason for your son to watch this podcast now.
The Arctic LARPer is
exactly.
I just can't wear red.
Why?
Hey, if you wore purple, you call you Purple Santa.
Makes you happy, Paul.
Yeah.
With Sydney.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank
yes,
you
do you.
We're not telling you not to channel the Disco Santa. I'm thoroughly enjoying the whole process. Because like a year ago, this wasn't on the agenda. When you and I started talking about different incarnations of Santa for different events, you were like, nay, have to preserve the sanctity of the red suit. And now you're like, I love it. Have you ever heard that expression? You only pick on the people you love. I love you so much, Paul.
Then I was a very loved kid.
For those of you that can't see, the Disco Santa just Taylor Swiftied me in a positive way.
It was like, there's a negative way?
No, I'm not a Swiftie. I mean, I did watch her. We're digressing for a moment. Folks, it's been a mental health week for me, and we're at Thursday, and I have to go to a
week. It's also
everybody, right?
Yeah.
We're marching on.
All over my face. That's a line before everybody gets dirty. That's a line from, Julia Roberts, Sally Field, Olympia Dukakis.
Fried green onions.
No.
Fried green tomatoes.
No. That was Kathy Bates and Mary Stuart Masterson. And Julia Roberts dies.
Yes, that was a very sad movie, and I loved it.
I know what you're talking about.
Come on. There's 3 people with autism and nobody's tapping.
I was thinking
not in my genre of movies that I would watch.
Hang on. Now I have to know. It was, oh my God. And I watch it all the time. And it has Dolly Parton, who's my favorite person ever.
Yes,
I know. Selling it.
Huh?
You're not selling it.
Steel Magnolias.
Yeah, I knew it was about flower of some sort. Yeah.
There was a flower in there. So what Dolly Parton says in the line, just to validate, because Sydney's face registered. Are you sure?
I know.
She says the one thing we know in life.
Be thinking the same thing.
That's fair. The one thing we know in life is that time marches on, and you'll soon realize that it's marching across your face.
Yes, and that was And if you had said that 3 minutes ago, that would have been said at 9:05.
Perfect would that have been?
I know.
Okay, we're tisming all over the place here. However, we do have a topic. We do have a topic for today. So here's the weird thing, and I want to ask the team before we jump into this. Once we do a podcast, for me anyway, we don't use a script, in case you haven't realized it, folks.
I don't think anybody could script us. It would be...
Wouldn't that be disastrous?
Well, I think if we scripted, I think we'd end up finding places to go off anyways, you know? Yeah.
It's like, this is more of a suggestion.
Exactly. Basically we have a line and a spreadsheet, and that's it. And we don't even always follow
we literally do have a line. So we do have a plan. It might sound like we don't have a plan, but we actually do have a plan. We've actually had several meetings, sadly, to plan. Because the topic is really important. But Maddie and I have been podcasting together for about 2 years now. And when we first shut up.
You
Seriously?
and I was this was our 5th year that you so we started off with the podcasting episodes with Autism Alliance, and then in 2022 so then 2022 is when you and I started doing it. Yeah.
Wow, have we
it's
been
been more. It's been, well, you know what? Okay, so yes, we have been, but you know that's now. We've had life, you know. But we've, yeah, it's
okay. So we're gonna
the COVID years have compressed our concept of time.
Sure, go with that. So when we first started looking at Maddie and I doing a podcast. When we started having discussions, they came to the table and they're like, okay, I need structure and I need to know exactly what's going to be said. And there was a lot of boxes, to which I went, I respect that. That's cool. Like, let's figure that out. And I think we tried that twice. And then Maddie realized that's, you know, it is, you definitely need a topic. You definitely need a focus. You definitely need to make sure that you have the brains at the table that can have the conversation. It irks the crap out of me when people get onto a topic and you can tell pretty quickly they got no freaking experience, clue, or if I may be so bold, no right to be talking about certain things. So we do that. And we do have a communications calendar. We do have a topic, which I'm going to share with you shortly. But the idea of scripting, it's like itchy underwear. Remember when underwear used to have tags in it? I don't know who thought that up. Paul's having a moment. Hang on. He's checking his
tag your itch.
Mine still has a tag.
You need to update. Okay, first question, Paul. Which microphone is selected for you? Because it still sounds like you're far away and you have your headphones on.
Yeah, it's not your headphones ones that are working. You're in an echo chamber.
Yeah, there's something going on.
It's the side
moment while we pause.
It says you can mute while recording, but you can't switch mics.
Oh, well, then you're going to have to sit forward a little bit, Santa, because it has not picked up your headset.
Okay, now speak. Sit forward and speak if you're going to do that to test this theory out.
Yeah.
Raff.
Yeah, much better. You weirdo. So you can either continue to sit there with your headphones on and you know, enable the stereotype, or you can take them off and just accept you have the different microphones.
Well, the thing is, I checked before I started, and it said using headset. So if I take these off, I won't be able to hear you because it's using my headset.
Oh, gotcha. For the speaker part. Okay, all good.
Just dumb.
I have my headphones to listen to you, and then I have my microphone to talk into.
Because Sydney's fancy. Okay.
Because I got the tism.
What's that?
Because I got the tism.
We will have moments, folks, and it's all respectfully done, just in case you think it's all, you know, it's all love and light, that there will be moments where somebody will say something or do something, and like what Maddie's trying to do right now, making themselves into the headless
I was like,
no, actually, okay, I was setting up to say, this is Maddie with the tism.
Okay. But we'll call that out. Like, tell me you have the tism without telling me you have the tism. What we haven't done in the last couple of ones, which I think might be a good idea, is just to very quickly reintroduce ourselves. If you're new to us, welcome. As Sydney just put out on LinkedIn, there's a lot of laughing. You know, it is what it is. Sydney, do you want to, like, 30 seconds or less, tell me about you? No pressure.
Oh goodness, who am I?
Who am I? Pull your microphone a little closer.
All right, you have 20 seconds left.
Is this a game show? What's going on? Hi everyone. I'm Sydney Elaine Butler, and I'm autistic. I have some neurospicy labels behind my name, which I won't get into right now, and I have a background in human resources. I'm a dog mom to a dog named Oreo, and I'm really just trying to...
I've got a lovely partner named Gordon.
Yes, I do.
Who always reminds me of the Bare Naked Ladies' first album.
And I'm trying to find my voice, and I think I have found my voice, but also tweak it and find out what it looks like for me, and also encourage other people to find their voice and find what makes them passionate and what really lights them up in this world.
Brings them joy.
And now I have to say, Enid, you never really knew each other anyway. There you go.
Sorry, if you're not a Bare Naked Ladies fan, first of all, what's wrong with you? And second of all, I think, to me, always, their first album is one of their best albums. And that song that Maddie was just singing was their very first video on Much Music.
Very first video from that song, from that album, because their very first video was "Lovers in a Dangerous Time," which is they did a cover of. Well, the second one, okay, I sang Enid first.
Right, but I said what you just sang, not what you previously sang. Work with me.
All right.
Coffee. Maddie needs coffee, everyone.
Right.
All right, so I want you to put in the chat, Maddie needs coffee. There you go.
If you ever need to accommodate Maddie, just coffee. And if you want to accommodate us, also bring Maddie coffee.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful.
SOS. Oh, SOS. While Maddie's laughing, go ahead and jump in and introduce yourself, Maddie. We're only 11 minutes in and haven't said anything useful. Keep going.
Was that okay? So I was still laughing. So did you say Maddie? Introduce yourself.
I did.
Or do you say okay? All right. Okay. I'm Maddie. I don't say anything funny ever. I'm an autistic adult with many other neurospicy layers of my neurotapestry. I'm a father. I'm a parent of 4 kids who, in bunny ears, are kids who are all autistic and ages of 17 to 27, and many of them also have unique neurotapestries and other things that make them so unique and so special, and sometimes I want to hug them and squeeze them so they don't do anything more stupid.
Well, I'm going to tell you about
we have probably the most neurospiciest household you'll ever see. When people come to visit us, they're the ones that are neurodivergent, and we're the ones that are typical.
Okay, are you good? That was a
I'm
breath.
good, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, did I do that in one breath? I did, yeah.
Pretty much. Paul?
Hi, I'm Paul.
It took me a year to convince Paul to come on a podcast because he was convinced he wouldn't be good at it. And then he did a really, really great interview. And I was like, I call bullshit. And now he's more and more coming out of his shell. But that's actually pretty much all Paul would normally say.
Just Paul.
Paul.
But it would be a red tortoiseshell.
Right. That's right.
So, Paul, you are neurospicy.
Yes, I am adult diagnosed ADHD, and depending who you ask, highly suspect in other areas.
Move in to the microphone. Embrace the microphone, Michael.
Hi, I'm Paul.
There.
Okay. So.
Hi, Paul.
Hi. I am.
How can I support you today, Paul?
I don't know. I am the father of 4 children, all one of them autistic and 3 ADHD, and we question some other things. But
you deal with some stuff.
Yep.
Shall I finish your introduction for you?
What did I miss?
So Paul's also an entrepreneur with a background in mold design and mold making, and was in trades for, I believe, 15 years, and then moved into other roles before starting Creation Designs, Inc., where he creates e-learning content and video and does some, there's a show that you shoot, a kids Christian focused puppet show situation.
Yeah, Faithful.
Yeah. My kids and I used to watch VeggieTales. So, I'm in it to win it around the stories. And then Paul and I have been working together now for about 5.5 years, 5-6 years, specifically around neurodivergence in manufacturing and trades. And so we're currently on our third project together. Oh, super weird. We're having all kinds of time moments here, which leads into our topic. So my name is Elizabeth Plouffe. I am the founder of Spiro Canada and founder of Socially ASD. And so we focus on creating opportunities for neurodivergent individuals to develop employment and social skills, and not in like an infantilizing, come here and let me do everything for you way. It's more like board games night. I'm like, here's the board games, figure it the fuck out. Like, like I know it's the F word. Paul's eyebrows went up. Our goal is to make sure that individuals understand that they have a say. They have a say in what they do in their day-to-day. They have a say in what they do socially. They have a say in their careers. We want to make sure in everything that we do that it's with the individual, always about meeting them where they are and believing in competency, and always about getting parents to, back the truck up and go, it's okay. If they fail one day to take their medication, as long as it's not a life-saving medication, that's okay. If they fail one day, we want to create failure points, because where failure happens, growth begins. So part of the reason for this podcast is that we've all gone through situations. Oh, I have kids. That's right. I forgot that.
You have two of those things.
Why do I do what I do?
Yes.
I didn't know anything about neurodivergence, which wasn't a term back then. I didn't know anything about autism. I didn't know anything about nothing. My first introduction really to day-to-day neurodivergence was my husband, who is dyslexic. I was not identified as any kind of neurospicy at that point. We got together and magically created a son who is autistic, dyslexic, and ADHD. He's been fun. And then we also have a daughter who is likely ADHD. I am late discovered ADHD. It's been interesting going through the sessions with my son growing up, but then meeting people who are willing to talk about it. I don't know. I think everybody on our team processes really, really well, verbally and auditorially, whether it's through the listening and the engaging in the conversations and those aha moments. Like Maddie and I have very frequently pressed record because we've started a conversation and we know we haven't heard this conversation happening anywhere, and we know it needs to happen, because then more people will have aha moments and more people will go, yeah, me too. Right? Like I had a teacher come up to me this year. So back to what Paul and I do. And any show I do, any trade show, any event, I've just signed up for another event with Sheridan College. I disclose, with their permission, I disclose my husband's diagnosis, my son's diagnosis, and my discovery of why I was a pain in the ass growing up. And I had a teacher come up to me at one of the events Paul and I were at Notre Dame, John, and he said, I need to talk to you for a second. Now, traditionally speaking, when a conversation with me starts that way, I have done something wrong. It's not unusual to have multiple conversations that start that way in a month. So I was like, what did I do? Just like the F-bomb I let fly a little while ago, sometimes, And he said, I need to thank you. And I said, why's that? And he said, because most service providers that come out don't share that they're also part of the group. They don't, share their diagnosis. For some reason, they might fear it affects their like how they appear or their expertise or whatever. I'm like, but who better to talk about ADHD in a middle-aged woman who grew up undiagnosed, unsupported, and whatever else than a late discovered middle-aged woman who grew up like, why would that change and if it changes what you think about me or how you perceive my expertise, like that's a you thing.
Yeah.
That's not a me thing. I'm really pretty solid in who I am. And I'm really not good at changing for other people. So I'm not going to not talk about my my neurospiciness to make other people comfortable. And that kind of leads into our topic today, because a lot of we have our youngster here. So Sydney's representing the youngsters, and giving me side eye. Well done. That was good. It's like having my
Well, it's
dog.
better than her calling us old. Side eye's fine.
And
Side eye.
you could, Paul especially. So
We'll call her Sydney.
no, Paul's actually the oldest in the group, I think. Aren't you? He's thinking.
Paul's like, I
Maybe.
don't want to talk.
Well, are we disclosing birth years right now?
June 1970.
I'm December 1975. So if you're in between us, you're...
So we'll just leave it there.
Were you born in the 60s?
Right,
My gosh, you're 1 decade older than us.
67.
Oh! Well, it's a good year.
It's my mom's
Old
age.
fart.
My mom's year.
You're old enough to be Sydney's dad.
You're 1 year younger than my dad.
I'm old enough to be Sydney's mom. I don't care. My kids are 26 and 27. As soon as I say that, I get one of two reactions. Oh, that's nice. Or, oh, you don't look old enough to have kids. And I'm like, you, I like.
He was saying that to my mom all the time, and my dad.
Yeah. You have gorgeous skin, though. So that's another. Anyway, so moving into choices and things like that, we have parents on the call, but we've also, it's like Sydney, you have shared before about navigating careers and expectations. Yes. And all those kinds of things. So what we're talking about today is neurodivergence in manufacturing and trades, but how that connects to what some parents might consider unique career opportunities for individuals. Somebody's clicking something. Yeah, caught you.
Why? Maybe the oldest, but
okay, Paul, haven't you developed the sound-free clicker yet? Yeah.
It's just they just don't work the same way.
They don't, but find something else before I. So.
And this is what happens. Okay, so the intersection between our stims and our sensory interests,
each other.
It's what is good for one autistic can drive another one absolutely batty.
Well, neurospicy, because I don't identify. So I've been tested, and I legit have been. I'm not autistic. I'm not pushing back on having that, but I just want to make really clear I'm not trying to claim something that doesn't.
You are correct.
Yeah.
Well,
but
yes.
ADHD do have sensory issues. Mine happens to be particular to hearing. And, the universe tried to help me out by making me deaf in one ear. It did not appear to work. And so, yeah, spin anything you want, but that clicky noise, Paul's going to lose a digit. So when we get into...
This doesn't feel like a very safe place right now.
Did somebody say digit?
We're not getting anything done here, folks, and we're 23 minutes in. Come on.
This is
like
Riff Raff. Not sure?
I know.
This is not sure.
My bad.
It's like hurting cats and catnip.
Maddie, I'm muting you. Come on. I'm laying down the
gauntlet.
Chief Minion has to lay down the law.
I'm laying down the law. Because this is an important topic. And Paul and I have had, that's a beautiful one, Paul. Spin away. We've had numerous conversations. Actually, I'm going to back up for a second. We were at an event. It wasn't with Paul. And I had somebody approach the table. And when we're at these events, or some of these events, they're focused on encouraging youth to consider trades as a career. Because society as a whole has moved away from understanding the function of trades, there's some biases and misconceptions that it's not a post-secondary path, that it's uber dangerous, that, it's not a respected thing and all that kind of stuff. And I'm here to tell you folks, one, having been associated with trades now for 22 years, you're right, there is some risk. Not going to lie. My husband's had things broken. He's had some skin removed. He's because you're working with tools, you're doing a variety of things. But here's the other piece of the research that we've done, is that folks who are neurodivergent actually rate at 93% safety rate. Weird but true. Whereas neurotypicals actually have a higher accident rate and injury rate in these types of roles. Especially, and this is data, this is not bias or opinion, folks with autism, when you explain to them that if you work with a particular machine the wrong way, and you will lose a digit or injure yourself or whatever it takes, they will do everything to make sure that that doesn't happen. The risk aversion is real for most people who are, riding the autism wave. ADHD, I'll be honest with you, more of a guideline with rules, and they will potentially experiment a little bit. And, that's why you see some people who, are missing some digits or whatever. But there is no more risk to getting into trades from an injury perspective than there is with anybody else getting into it. Some of the challenges with getting into it, right? So, Paul, there's 152 Red Seal trades, roughly.
I don't know that number off the top of my head, sorry, but probably, yeah.
Lean into the microphone, my friend.
I don't know the number off the top of my head, but I think it's that.
Okay, stop leaning back, and we don't have to tell you to lean forward.
Don't click. Lean forward.
Disco
You can
Santa.
spin your little thing. That's fine.
Spin your little thing.
That was good.
That was good.
You
I was
say
actually
smart
waiting
stuff
for
and we
that.
want to hear you. And when you sit back on your chair, we can't hear you today. So
I'm
I'm
sorry.
not trying to bust your jingle bell.
yeah.
It's
I know.
just, it is what it is.
Note to self: next Thursday, we need to do a sound check before we hit record.
Valid. Okay. There's roughly 152 Red Seal trades that all.
If I'm sitting forward, the top of my head got cut off, so I moved my camera.
You're totally fine. It's all good. Namaste.
Now I'm going to go.
Shortly, I swear. So what we've tried to identify over the past 5 years are what are the barriers for people getting into trades? And most specifically, what are the barriers for people who are neurodivergent getting into trades? Fun fact, trades happens to attract people who are neurospicy at a higher rate than traditional jobs. Right now, I believe what I just read is like a minimum of 30% of the trades workforce is neurospicy in some capacity. Engineers, huge amount of the TISM in engineers. And engineers can work closely with trades because they're generally the ones that are designing things or designing machinery, retrofitting spaces, whatever that looks like. So when we're at trade fairs, one thing we've seen is that parents won't give the full diagnosis to the kid. Paul and I have seen that. Somebody else I used to do this with, and I have seen that. And here's the only thing it's not going to be the only thing, but the major thing is, folks, that's where the risk comes in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If your kid is not fully aware of their neurospiciness and what that means they can't advocate for themselves appropriately. That means they can't, have discussions with their physicians over what medication might be required to support appropriately. That means they can't explain to anybody, what's going on if they have a sensory overload or what have you. Has anybody else seen or experienced that where?
It's interesting. Yesterday.
Oh, go, Maddie.
Okay. Yesterday, I was one of the things I do. One of the many hats I wear is I'm part of the ECHO program, autism in Ontario, and we were so as part it's multidisciplinary group of folks, including autistics and family members, teaching medical doctors, psychologists, educators about autism in a very multidisciplinary way. So it's partially teaching, partially a case that's brought from one of the participants. And yesterday, a case was brought up, and the kid who was 16, who was diagnosed at 4, was never told of the diagnosis, but saw it on an IEP and just had a real hard time with it. And one of the things that, that I mentioned, the longer a kid goes not having a name to put with like their diagnosis, there's um a real challenge for them when they finally get it, whether they can when they're told whether they can accept it. um and it's really challenging to navigate the world without knowing a solid piece of information about yourself. And it generally never goes well when they're told later. So it's really important, not only for an identity perspective, but again, to be given the words of, what are your needs, what are your accommodations, and, to understand that there are people also like you, that, it is so challenging to not know your diagnosis until much later in life. It really.
So the parents were there. So Paul and I came up with a term a couple of events ago. So if a kid, and this is not meant in a mean way by any stretch of the imagination, if a kid walks by or we engage with a kid or whatever, and then we ask, are you on the spectrum? And they say no. One of us will go ding, 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 because that's our Audidar going, you sure about that? And this kid and their parents came to the table, and it was obvious that there was some tism going on, and not in any way trying to call anybody. I just asked, is autism, like, because a lot of the folks that come to the table are on the spectrum. I said, is autism on the agenda? And the kid's reaction was, why is she asking that, Mom? Why is that? Why is she? No, I'm ADHD only. And like, it was a big, but in the meanwhile, he turns back to me, and Mom looks at me in the eyeballs and starts nodding. I was like, son of a bitch, why would you do that to your kid?
Because not giving the diagnosis creates that sense, like, if a kid is told one thing but there's also another, you by not telling them are reinforcing the stigma about the thing you're not telling them.
But there's something to be ashamed about being
exactly.
autistic.
Yeah.
But that, to me, especially if they're looking at trades, is a dangerous, like, you are limiting the career options for your kid by not being honest with them about their diagnoses and what they might need for support. And so Sydney's had something to say, and we've been jumping. So Sydney, I saw your reaction to the mom nodding.
Well, my first thing I was reacting to is when you said it's about sensory overload. And so, again, I was diagnosed with autism when I was 6 years old, but again, didn't really know what it meant for the longest, and didn't know how it would impact, because like sometimes it would impact me more than others. And so with sensory overload, I would have really bad sensory overload, but I didn't have the verbiage of sensory overload or sensory underload. And I literally I would feel gross in my skin, or like different things would trigger it. And I was like, I'm having a gross attack. That's what I used to call them, because I didn't have
Which is that's a good phrase. Yeah.
And then I started exploring, because I was having other challenges related to being autistic. And I started realizing and doing research for myself to be more informed of how it's impacting me. And it's like, and I remember coming across sensory overload. I'm just like, oh my goodness. Oh
That's
my
the gross
goodness. Because I think one time we were in a meeting, and I had to I changed my outfit like 3 times. I was just like, nope, next, change my shirt, next.
Oh, I've done that.
Nothing. And even this morning, I was like, what do I wear? Like, I was just like, what do I put on my body? Because I took Oreo for a walk. My dog's named Oreo. I was like, the outfit wasn't as good as I thought it was gonna be, so I had to quickly change it. It's like these things impact you in real ways. And even when I would call them the gross attacks, it would only give me a piece of the puzzle. I'm like, this is my experience. So like, and it's like, how is this? And I was really thinking, like, how is this going to impact me if I have gross attack in the workplace? Am I going to, do I just handle it myself? Do I share that? Like, is it, because like sometimes like lights bother me at certain points if I'm more sensitive, or different noises, right? And so, or it's just like, sometimes it's external and sometimes it's internal, right? And knowing that difference for how you're showing up in the world and in the workplace.
So Paul.
Yes. She mentioned something that I didn't have any experience with, sensory underload. And so
I love that term. I picked that up too.
Yeah. I needed to write it down so I could look it up later.
And thank you for doing that, because I was going to do the same thing. Is that we need to talk about that?
We're like the official term is hypo or hypersensitive.
Hypo.
Yeah, exactly. So like we can be both more and less sensitive in a particular sounds at the same time. So you could absolutely need loud thumping music to sort of help you through that, but you can't handle that an alarm that coming the same way. You can't handle soft things, but you need something like a harsh touch. Like it's a
thing.
What I find is a lot of folks that are neurodivergent are experiencing the highs and the lows at the same time.
Yes.
And that's what it's confusing, because teachers, professionals are all taught like that we're hypersensitive to things. But no, actually a lot of us, like we are the opposite. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm gonna tie this, because I'm doing my thing. We got to get to the topic, and we're
the topic. Oh wow.
I know, silly rabbit, but
this is the cherry on top. We'll get to the toppings.
What did we say? Let's go in the chat.
That was a metaphor, not a pun.
Oh, you're right.
Good.
I was going to say accommodation.
Never. Okay. So from a sensory perspective, sorry. You're absolutely right. One of the conversations that we had, so on Saturday, Paul and I were at the Halton Catholic District School Board Trades Fair, and John Dietrich has done an incredible job at putting this event together for the past, I want to say, I've been going for 4 or 5 years. It's grown a lot, and it's an opportunity for individuals to come in from grade 8 to grade 11 or 12 and learn about different trades. So like DeWalt was there and had an entire tool thing set up. Paul, jump in if you can remember any displays. We didn't get a chance to walk around. Historically, I don't sit down for the entire event. We are in the best way possible. We are nonstop busy. So there's colleges there. So Sheridan's there. I think Durham was there. Mohawk was there. There's associations. So I think like the Boilermakers were there. I don't think the Millwright Association was there this year. I didn't see them.
The guys who do the welding every time, the soldering.
They were not there this time.
No, they were.
Were they? Were they welding?
They were right across from us, actually.
But were they welding?
Oh yeah.
I didn't. Okay. And we're gonna put a pin on that for a second, because that identifies. Please don't forget that thing. Then there was landscaping, there was masonry, there was all kinds. So it's an opportunity for individuals to go around and not only talk to tradespeople, because you should be talking to the source. That's why my husband comes with me, because he's dyslexic. He's been in trades for 22 years. Paul's an amazing resource because ADHD and also been in trades, but identified moving on. So combination of trades and entrepreneur. And what I love about that is that individuals and parents and teachers come to the table, and they have a completely different experience than any other service provider in the space, because we're bringing lived experience to trades, which most of the others have representatives or whatever that are not necessarily in the trade, and we're representing the neurospicy. So what came up that day was around how somebody who's neurodivergent could choose a trade? Like, what should come into play? And I said, you know what? It actually comes down to sensory issues. And I was talking to Sheridan College yesterday. Whoop, whoop, I'm a two-time grad.
Me too.
And she said, what do you mean? And I said, a lot of folks who are neurodivergent have sensory issues of some kind. Where that's particular to trades, coming back to Paul. So Paul and I were at Level Up a couple of months ago, and Highmark was in the area, and they were welding. If you've never been around anybody welding before, there's a variety of smells. And if you happen to be sensory sensitive for smell, Paul, I think you were having a rough go with the amount of.
I get headaches from soldering smell, the smell of solder. The flux, when they heat it up and it evaporates and they get that in the air, I get headaches from it. So, and I get really nauseous from the smell of burned propane so I am sensitive to smells. I don't think it's a sensory issue as much as maybe I'm wrong, but I assume headaches are not a neurodivergent sensory thing.
It can be a symptom.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. There's a relation. So your senses affect your other parts of your body, right? So there's natural reactions. So when we experience like a dislike of something, and then we have a physical feeling to it, like your body is telling you, I don't really like this, and it's doing something so to make you realize that you don't like this.
Yeah. So I mean, but it was more. So the conversations we were having, it's just been really coincidental in the last couple of weeks that a lot of the conversations I've been having with folks is around understanding how you can choose a trade, and how sensory issues should play into that, right? So my husband has worked as a millwright and an electrician for 22 years. As a millwright, he has come home covered in what we lovingly call shit and corruption. So it can be, honestly, like, there have been days when he worked for the city of Toronto, he was in wastewater management, and he would literally come home, if he couldn't get to a shower, covered in poo water, right? So he would have to stand outside. He wasn't allowed in the house, and strip down. And like, if I needed to hose him, I did. But he also, with millwright, Paul, this is where your expertise would be really handy, because I lose the names of substances. But for CNC, for millwright, for, I want to say, HVAC and plumbing and many other trades, you're going to come in contact with viscous fluid for like hydraulic fluid, or what other types of fluids, Paul?
Well, there's when you're talking about a manufacturing shop floor, there's all kinds of things in play. You've got, if there's soldering or welding going on, you've got flux fumes, you've got those kind of things happening. You've got propane jitneys that are running around that are exhausting into the area. For smells, you have cutting fluid. When CNC is cutting, they use a cutting fluid, and because of the high speed cutters spinning at high temperatures, a lot of that gets sprayed into the air in a very fine mist. So the smells are pretty strong. Now that said, they've come a long way with a lot of these fluids and different things to make them more friendly.
But still, from a tactile perspective, if you're touching hydraulic fluid, or you're touching, like, even there's plumber's putty, right? Or there is a grease that you have to put around two pieces of pipe going together, or like, his hands can be covered in any type of oil, any type of grease, any type of glue, any type of adhesive, any type of anything. There's a lot of CNC, and I've been on CNC shop floors, a couple now, and the variety of fluids, which also come with their own smell, but you can't help but have to touch. If you're taking a piece off of the plate, or you're loading a piece on, or like whatever it is, the cage of the cutters gets saturated in this stuff. and they don't clean it every day because that's not a reasonable ask. So there is buildup and there is residue that ends up on everything. And if you are highly touch sensitive to anything that's slightly gooey or slidey or whatever, that's not the right trade for you. Carpentry would be better. Electrical, you still have some substances that have that viscosity, but not nearly as much and less smell. Paul's pausing.
I didn't hear a question.
Sorry. Your face said you were going to say something, so I waited, but I did anyway. But if we go into auto mechanic, right? Auto mechanic, there's going to be a lot of stuff that you're touching, oil, grease, whatever that is, and a lot of strong smells. So that's one thing that I don't think has been considered when taking trades to any population. Right? So go ahead.
We go around and we see, these experiences where they let them do stuff. Now, that's one thing I really appreciate about Level Up is they were actually, they had people that were actually doing drywall and let the kids do drywall. They had masonry people and let the kids lay in brick, and the soldering and all that. So that was great. But there's a big push towards like VR to help people experience trades and see what it's going to be like. But you're really missing, you're missing the level of sound. Like VR does have sound, but it doesn't
not
really,
the same. It's not the same decibels. Legally, you can't create that sound.
And you don't get the tactile, and you don't get the factory senses as well. So it's why when we talk to employers, one of the things we strongly recommend is to include a good shop tour in interviews, right? So people know exactly what they're kind of getting into when they step on a shop floor. You don't want somebody that has tactile issues or is not going to be able to handle the smells, or it's going to overwhelm them. You don't want to go through the whole process of hiring them and then find out on day 1 or 2 that this is just not something that they would be able to handle.
Well, and you don't want the individuals. So one thing is there is a very high turnover rate across the board in manufacturing and trades. And one of the reasons is that manufacturing has made great strides in technology and great strides in tools and great strides in, like, I love the 5S program, where things are like at Cavalier. That 5S program blew my mind. And it's where workstations are set up with a board that has the outline of the tool on it, the name of the tool, and I think sometimes like the picture of the tool. So for somebody with ADHD, that's a godsend, because I don't have to think. I can look at the board. I can immediately see what's missing. I know where it has to be.
Put it down, put it away.
Put it down, put it away.
Put it away.
Right. And my brain is, I'll put it down beside me, and I'll remember to put it away later, which explains why I found the sausages that I cooked last night still in the toaster oven this morning, because, I put it down anyway. So the 5S program, I've actually sent away and received some more information about that, because that's something. And it was interesting because I went to Cavalier's team and I asked them, I'm like, do you know how neuro-inclusive that is? And they just did it because it's good business practices. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean just in a dismissive way, but they hadn't considered actually how inclusive that whole model is, because you can do that setup for bigger tools. Like, you're not going to do it for all of your wrenches. And I mean, like, that would be, I guess you could, but if you're using 150 different tools, like, that's, if I were to suggest that.
Sorry, they do it for all of the tools they supply. Tool makers have their own tools, and they're responsible for organizing their own tools in the way they do things. But any tools they supply
is in the 5S?
It's in the 5S.
That just makes my little ADHD organizational heart so happy. Like,
same.
Oh my God, I wish I had that at home. Right now, my house is a full disclosure, I've had some mental health dip this week, so my house is a disaster. Because I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow, and then.
But at least your bookcase is organized.
It is, isn't it lovely? And I didn't have to do a thing.
Yours,
we have the
Betty.
same taste.
I know. It's the same interior decorator, I think.
We all read the same books.
Exactly.
We're all smart.
Yeah.
So the other thing that ends up happening is when we go into employers, one, it's kind of cool to see. I knew nothing about 5S. I have now since gone and watched videos and learned about it, so I can recommend it to other employers. During the first project Paul and I did together, I met with a company, and one of the simple things they do is each level of employee within the organization wears a different colored vest. So if you're brand new, it's green. If you are a lead hand, it's, like whatever it is. And I know that sounds goobery, but you can then very easily stop people from going to management to ask questions and say anybody in a green striped vest is a lead hand who has been taught and knows it's their job to answer your questions. Because if you've ever stepped on a shop floor or engaged with anybody in trades for a significant amount of time, one of the challenges is that the old farts like my husband, he's very patient. The majority came up through the basically lose a finger and learn from that mentality. I'm not kidding you. And Paul, my husband would be nodding. They are not trained to be the most encouraging, supportive, high EQ versions of themselves. It's like, I already told you that once. You should know how to do it. Go figure it out.
The Gen X mentality.
A colored vest not going to change that, but.
What's that, Paul?
I said a colored vest isn't going to change that, but.
No. A colored vest isn't, but that's what we're trying to get around, is providing these tools and opportunities so that continuous communication happens and people get trained safely and know who they need to talk to. So if you've got 7 people doing the same job, 4 of them are grumpy and 3 are approachable and willing to be interrupted, put the vests on the 3. Leave the grumpy shits alone. But now anybody new.
I would get so grumpy.
But then you wouldn't get a vest, right?
Yeah. No vest for you.
No vest for
you. Exactly. Yeah. They'll realize that there's no point in making an investment in you then.
I get the black vest.
Avoid at all costs.
Skull and crossbones with a gray beard.
Which fits our theme.
Exactly.
We are pirates. So I realized that was a bit of a segue, but we need to look at what's happening on the shop floor in addition to talking to parents, in addition to demystifying the trades, in addition to addressing the biases that parents and guidance counselors and everybody has around trades or any kind of different career choice, and acknowledging the individual's interests and acknowledging, if they've been building stuff their entire life. The main thing I tell anybody in grade 8 and 9 is sign up for as many trades-based classes as you can. And they'll look at me funny. I'll say, make sure that you're getting all of your mandatories, but any electives that you have, if you are interested in building and that problem solving and that strategy thing and tactile, and that's how you learn better, the safest place for you to learn about that is in a high school environment where you can try welding and you can try electrical and you can try wood shop and you can try auto and you can see if the feel of the grease bothers your skin. You can see if the smell of flux and acetylene and whatever else, is just not something you can tolerate.
There's a deeper thing than that, though, when it comes to picking trades. It wasn't all that long ago that the stereotypical view of somebody who is autistic is, oh, he's autistic, he should be a programmer, or he should be,
For the love, if I had a nickel for every time somebody told me my son doesn't know how to keep going, sorry.
No, that's still a very strong stereotype. out there. And what people don't understand is
it's 10 a.m.
Just because you process information differently doesn't
stand
mean
up and
that
stretch.
You could mute.
It's not me.
Okay, now you're on mute. So you're talking now, but we have Alexa in the background.
Yes, I have 3 screens, and the mouse I couldn't figure out where the trackpad was to try
It's
to.
all good.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all
so
good.
Paul, sorry, continue.
Yeah. So just because you process information differently does not mean that you don't like working with your hands, or like all these things are available to neurodivergent children. If you're a parent and you're raising somebody, don't put them in a box that says, oh, well, I got this autistic diagnosis. I better go, get books on math and engineering. Find out what the kid likes to do. If the kid's playing with Lego, they like to build things. If they're taking things apart and putting them back together, they're they have a mechanical aptitude. There's as many. Autism doesn't put you in a box for a specific career path, and I think that there's still a lot of that around, that people think that that's
100%.
the case.
Yes.
So that's one of the big things we need to dispel, especially, just because a parent gets a diagnosis for their children doesn't mean they suddenly have an education on how to deal with that and what that means, right?
Yeah.
And parents are so involved in picking career paths or encouraging career paths for their kids, right? I mean, we all do it. We all want to see our kids. We all have a vision for what we think they'd be good at, or what we'd like to encourage them to do. Even sometimes living vicariously through them, right? With things that we didn't do, we should have done, and we try and push on them. And that's normal. But one of the things I love about like some of these events we go to is seeing more and more parents actually pushing it, because as you pointed out, I'm the oldest one in the group here. And this is new. Like,
I'm glad you're not heard about that.
No. It's with age comes wisdom, right?
Because you have wisdom sparkles in your beard.
The thing is, in my younger generation, and tradespeople were not the smart people. Like, that was the stigma. That was the
Yeah. I wasn't allowed to take any kind of trades, or I wanted to take auto and wood shop in high school. And my father had an absolute conniption. No, daughter of mine, that's not appropriate. You shouldn't be taking that. I'm like, what? In my brain, what woman shouldn't know, so that you don't get ripped off at the mechanic?
Yeah.
At a minimum, that's a thing. What we run against with guidance counselors is the apprenticeship process. And there's a lot of confusion about the apprenticeship process. And I did a workshop day with Sheridan College, who were incredible, by the way. And Paul, I have to share some good news with the meeting I had yesterday. And there was over 220 guidance counselors that went through. And to support Paul, there was this misconception that folks who are neurodivergent, what do you mean they can do trades? Well, we don't understand the apprenticeship process. I'm like, that's why you have Sheridan and Mohawk and Durham and St. Clair, who have experts to help you understand and navigate. So if you can't deal with it, that's totally fine. Then connect them to the learning pathways at the colleges, who will explain everything, because that's their job. Huzzah, you are off the hook. But if they don't make that referral, does the parent, like to your point, Paul, when you have this kid and this diagnosis shows up, nobody gives you a manual. I wonder if there's a lack of supports given to parents to understand how to navigate the pathway into trades.
This pathway into trades drives me nuts. It used to be, if I wanted to be an electrician, I went and got a job as an electrician's apprentice. If I wanted to be a plumber, I got a job as a plumber's apprentice. And then I started I was working and I was going through the whole big push we've done for years is you don't have to incur debt. Now it's like, well, if you go and take post-secondary, pre-apprenticeship this and pre-apprenticeship that, that's accruing post-secondary debt. Like it, they've commoditized trades, and it drives me insane.
And not in a good way that induces people to want to come into trades, but in a way that creates a bear. Sydney's gone black. What's going on? Sydney's like, I'm done with you people. Talk about this damn topic anymore. Screw you.
We did our hour.
Well, we have, but the first 25 minutes was trying to get everybody on track. So I'm not sure how. And I mean everybody, me included. So good. I'll take that on the chin. So we started this conversation. I think from the transcript with the team, we'll take a peek at what we can fine tune for our next conversation, because there is an HR view around changing the way interview. They're 100%. One of the biggest findings out of our first research project was the complete crap interview process that most manufacturers or trades-based organizations have. They're so bad. And Paul, absolutely, we were doing a presentation at Sheridan College to employers through a project that we had. And Paul said something that has stuck in my brain ever since about how bad the onboarding is in most organizations. And then I was speaking at the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum as part of a panel on neurodivergence in trades. And I asked a room of 300 people, so how was your onboarding process? You know, raise your hand if it was good, raise your hand if it was not so great. I got to tell you, the not so greats were a lot higher. So from an HR perspective, that's creating barriers. The interview process creates barriers. The fact that none of the materials to get into trades is accessible to anybody with a learning difference. And we have a higher than 30% rate of neurodivergence amongst trades. Getting into the trades isn't the challenge. And they've shown this now statistically. Staying in the trades, staying in the apprenticeship process, staying in the school model, that's where folks are dropping out like flies. We have too many people wanting to wear a black vest and not share their knowledge. And Paul, I'm not poking at you. I really love that you said that.
Yeah, it's true. It's out.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because you're right. Not everybody. And so they pull these guys, give them no, or gals. We've got to be honest with you. The majority of people in trades are, it's changing, but the most senior folk tend to be male. So they pull these guys, give them no training, and say, by the way, now you're going to be the go-to for all the apprentices with questions. Like, what recipe for disaster is that little piece of witchcraft? We want folks to know that your diagnosis does not dictate your career. The way you show up in the world should influence your career. The way the world impacts you should influence your career choice, because we want you to be successful. We want you to work with your strengths. We want you to be able to accommodate if there is a sensory issue or a learning issue or whatever that is. But that should never preclude you from exploring it and asking questions and going up to folks, you know, and doing informational, we'll talk about informational interviews another day.
That's a whole other topic.
Oh yeah, all on it. And changed when I graduated from Sheridan for the third time. Informational interviews changed the way I went into my new career. Come out to the trade shows. What the heck was that? Okay, we're going to let it go.
Game Boy sound that's been going on or something like that. It's going to be very interesting to listen to. The back.
It's fine. But come out to the trade shows. If you're in Halton Region, there is a number of different events you can come out to. If your school has the opportunity to attend Level Up, one, it's a day out of school. Just saying, because I always signed up for those. And 2, you can meet so many people and you can try some really cool stuff.
I have
And
a
it might
question.
hit it.
Because you're saying like it's about like a lot of the day out of school. Is there any like thing for like 20-year-olds?
So they can
So-
attend Level Up as well.
Level
That's
Up
why
has evening events.
Let's level it down.
Level down.
Because I'm just like my cousin, maybe my brother, but my cousin's interested in the trades and she's neurodivergent.
The Center for Skills and Development here in Burlington is the only organization I know that has try it programs, but I will call them out in saying they do not actively support neurodivergence. And I've had meetings with them asking them what their support process is. So go into that with the knowledge that if they need accommodations or what have you, I mean, the flip side is give them my name and I'm happy to have, happy to have chats and see where we can find. But the last recommendation I would say is like, so I'm here in Burlington. Maddie, you are in?
I'm in Smiths Falls, just outside of Ottawa.
And Sydney, you are in?
Brampton.
And Paul, you are in?
Windsor.
So the reason I ask that is that I know in Halton Region, there are maker spaces. There are things like our Burlington Central Library has a great makerspace. I know up in Newmarket, there's a great makerspace. And while that might be, no, actually, my friend just told me the Burlington Central Library makerspace now offers 3D printing. Paul, you should come and check it out. Industrial sewing.
Just look over there.
Well,
I was going to say, they can come visit him.
yeah. But those makerspaces, Sydney, might be a spot to go and start taking a peek.
Okay. She's based in Toronto, but she drives, so
there's ones in yes. So I don't have them off the top of my head, but we will find them. And
City of
we'll
Ottawa also has that through their
she's
library.
a driver, so she likes to drive around.
Well, then come out to Burlington. And to wrap, one of our goals as a team is to create an ability hub here in Burlington, in partnership with the City of Burlington and other partners. That would make access possible to the trade spaces that exist at the Bateman Community Center, so that folks can come in. We can run things where you can come and try auto, you can come and try woodworking, you can come and try those types of things, or working with Support Ontario Youth and run programs for people to come and try stuff safely and with professionals. That would be the other one, Sydney. Support Ontario Youth runs events in a variety of areas that employers are invited to, but they set up stations for different trades. So that's another organization to take a look at for upcoming events. There's also the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum. If anybody is interested, go and check that out. And they partner with a lot there. It's a great organization. And then in Halton Region, there is HIAC, which is the Halton Industry Education Council. And they have apprenticesearch.com, and they are out supporting and partnering on events and things like that. But our main thing is, folks, like, a diagnosis is handy. And I know some folks are, it's a label. Yeah. This is why, don't you use a label to buy certain clothes? Don't you use, I mean, like what it's made of, not, Ralph Lauren versus whatever.
Yes.
Labels help us navigate things that we need to understand. That's all it's for. If it becomes a box, if it becomes a constraint, that's a little bit on you.
I think it's a context rather than it's context. But then
Yeah.
Context versus control or
yeah.
limitation.
And then
yeah. Other topic. Yeah. If you happen to be neurospicy, like everybody on this podcast, if you happen to love building stuff, taking things apart, problem solving, strategizing, if you love math, like whatever it is, trades are an option. There's over 150 different things. If you love playing video games, but don't want to do game design, there's CNC. there's all kinds of, like, Paul and I could, Paul could tell you all about CAD design and mold design, all that other kind of stuff. There's options. There's options. Just don't count it out. Plus, you can make a buttload of money.
Exactly. Yes.
Anyway,
that's why it's becoming commoditized, because the necessity has of these jobs has increased massively.
HVAC, elevator mechanic, with the expansion of the housing mandate. Right now, if you drive down the street, my husband said this, I'm going to get it tattooed somewhere. Every time you drive by a house, none of them will likely ever need a millwright, but all of them will need an electrician at some point.
Yep.
All of them will need HVAC at some point, which is heating, ventilation, and air conditioning.
It's a shocking fact.
All of them will need plumber. Right?
I've held back so much with it.
I know you haven't. I've watched your lips suck in, and but it's an option, folks.
Mm-hmm.
That's all we're here to talk about. Is it's an option. Any wise words before we wrap up? Nothing.
Paul, you have more nuggets to share?
There's been a lot of nuggets.
No pressure.
If you're on a podcast with Elizabeth, get a stim thing that doesn't click, because I can hear it. That's a wise one.
All right. And on that note,
thanks for joining us, folks. We really appreciate it. Our whole goal with this podcast is to create options, to create opportunities, to create a conversation, and to maybe get you thinking about stuff you hadn't thought about before. So thank you, team.
And maybe some laughs.
Always.
And
laughs.
sometimes some tears.
You're not wrong.
That's after.
Why did I do this to myself? Why did I let them pick on me?
Bye, everybody.
Bye, Disney Paul.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Bye. Hey, this is Elizabeth Blue from Spiro Canada, one of your pirates on the Riff Raff podcast team. My fellow pirates include Maddie Dever from Autistic Bridge, Sydney Elaine Butler from Accessible Creates, and Paul Coleman from Creation Designs, who is our very own Arctic LARPing Santa. Thank you for joining us on the Neurospicy Seas, and we wish fair winds to you all.